This video is brought to you by Arma, who provides top quality supplements to athletes of all kinds. Riders like Nick Way, Chad Reed, Jeremy McGrath use them for pre, during, and post-activity applications. Be sure to head to armasport.com and use the code RACERX. That's RACERX, no spaces, for 20% off your first order. Hey RacerX family, what's up? I'm Kris Keefer. This is Glen Helen Raceway behind me, and this is the 2021 KTM 350 SXF. For me, a lot of questions get asked about this bike. How do I know I want a 350 and not a 450 or a 250? So today at Glen Helen, you and I, as well as Kenny Day, are going to break down this thing, and we're going to talk about where this bike belongs in the realm of spending consumer cash. Are you the 350 type? Find out later. We're gonna go ride this sucker and we'll break it down for you. All right, we wrapped it up today. We're done. We have, 3.3 hours on this today, so that's a lot of time between Kenny and I. And we're gonna give you a little snippet on what it's like to ride right now. Right away, what did they change on the 2021 KTM 350 SXF? Not much. ECU settings, they use the SKF linkage seals. They have those updated, and also valving, suspension specs, shock and fork have been revised. Air pressure, stock air pressure on the fork is 10.6 bar, but otherwise she is the same as 2020, which isn't a bad thing. Where does this bike fit in the realm of what you guys want? The consumer has some cash right now. For some reason, COVID-19 has really set the bar high for purchasing motorcycles at dealerships. A lot of them are sold out. This is a high demand motorcycle. Why is that? It's fun to ride. For me, I still like a 450, but I like a fast 250F. This is kind of what this 350 SXF feels like to me. But I'm gonna hand it over to this guy. He's 150 pounds. He just came off of a Husqvarna FC 450. So I'm gonna let him break down the engine and what he feels, and then I'll jump in periodically and let you guys know what I feel. So Kenny, have at it.
Yeah, today was it was exciting for me. I've never ridden a 350, always heard about it. Kris has always said it's a fun bike, but today was, let's try something new. So as he said, I've been riding a Husqvarna 450 for about 5 months now, and I've gotten pretty accustomed to that, but I've been wanting to jump back on a 250 or now the 350. So first impressions getting on the bike, it still feels like a 250 to me. It's still light, it's nimble, you can put it where you want. Getting in and out of corners is easy. Like there's no weight transfer like the 450 really kind of pushes into the turns. So I immediately felt like I was just on a 250F again, but a very fast one, very torquey. I still was blown away today with the engine. Like it revs forever. So, and when I mean forever, it really does. Second gear to me never feels like it sighs off. I could carry second gear all the way up the hills at Glen Helen or down the straightaways. I never found like an actual rev limiter. If you watch a video, maybe you did, but for me, I rarely use third gear today. I was in second gear most of the time, and third gear was something I just used to kind of click up to get the chassis to settle in some of the square edge bumps. But blown away by how good it is, how strong it is, and anything you want to say about that?
Yeah. So for me, engine character for me on the 350 is very free revving. We talked about this earlier. Like on a 450, you have more inertia, you have more crank mass. On the 350, it has that 250 feel with some added torque. So now you have this free revving, lively. You can get in and out of corners really easily, I like to say, because it pops out really nice. The chassis feels light. The RPM response is quick. It's exciting. I do like the fact that Kenny said he used second gear. So I want to know, when I use second gear on this bike, there's not a lot of engine braking. And for you guys that are getting a new 350, it'll take 4 to 5 hours to really break in this engine. But once it's broke in, you're usually in third gear because it's less engine braking on other bikes. For some reason, with this KTM 350 engine, second gear doesn't have a lot of engine braking. So if you're revving the snot out of it, like Kenny says, and you get to get off the throttle, it doesn't have a lot of pitching motion. The inertia, the crank is really free-feeling and it's light. So I like that. I will say you do still have to rev it like a 250. You can't really lug it like a 450. So the faster you ride or the harder you ride this bike, the more it will reward you. So where does this engine character go in the realm of what you guys want? I'm a heavier guy. I don't want a lot of weight, but yet I need some power. For me, this has a blend of everything. Yes, I feel like some of you guys out there can ride a little bit harder on this bike because it allows it. If you do that on a 450, that could get you in trouble. So the perception is, oh, I can lug it on a 450, it's easy to ride, but yet I get in trouble when I'm tired. With this 350, you might have to ride a little bit harder, but I feel like you can ride it longer than you can a 450. For me, for sure, 20 minutes into a moto and I'm in shape on a 450 and I'm feeling pretty tired. With this thing, 20 minutes, still feel pretty good. I feel like I can go 25, 30 minutes at a high level and not be as tired. So that is something to be noted for if you guys are out there saying, hey, I don't know which bike to buy, 350 or 450. Ride a little bit harder. This thing will reward you. Suspension, before I get to you, I had a spec a couple weeks ago. I went to 10.8 bar, 12 out on the compression, and then 11 on the rebound. That really helped me settle into corners. Today at Glen Helen, you get into these ruts and it kind of dives down in. There's a hole. It holds that front end up and it's just a lot calmer feeling. 105 millimeters on the sag. I went 2 out on the rebound, a little bit quicker to pick up some of that chatter today, and it's a very balanced feel. Thank you, KTM, for not having a spike seat like Husqvarna. My ass thanks you. Also, what I would also do for me is put a black throttle cam in this throttle. You don't know about that yet, do you? So if you're on a KTM and you twist the throttle, it feels like the pull is really long. So put a black cam on that thing, it kind of shortens that up, and that will even get you a little bit more excitement. But for me, if I was 10 to 12 races a year kind of guy and I want to have the most fun, I would consider a KTM 350 SXF. Very fun to ride, easy to get in and out of corners. It feels light. To me, we talked about this too. It's only a pound or 2 pounds lighter than a 450, but it feels like 6 to 7. So maybe you can elaborate that a little bit.
Yeah, so we talked before this, and I was basically explaining that the biggest difference for me coming from a 450 to this is when I come into the turns on a 450, I always feel like I have a push. I always feel like there's weight, like it's mass, it's moving, and it's hard for me to kind of get settled into the turns at times.
Like that?
Yeah, to get up. So with that said, today getting on the 350 and even riding a 250 like a month ago, it was the biggest thing that stood out was coming into the turns. I didn't feel like I had that push. I didn't feel like there was a mass behind me, and I could just set right into the turns. It was settled. Or if I wanted to get into a turn and jump out before I got to some bumps, I could do all those things. Whereas the 450, I struggled. So I think that's a great aspect of the bike is you do have this more snappy, torquey engine. Of course, you have to ride it like a 250F to get it moving. But if you really wanted to, you could still lug this thing around in some aspects. Like you need to ride it like a 250F to get it really going to the high RPM. But if you wanted to, you could still lug it around in third gear. That's my opinion.
He's also 150 pounds. It's like
stop eating.
If you want to be a man and you're up to 200, this thing right here can still please you. You just the higher you rev it, the more fun you'll have. Trust me. We're not used to that kind of feeling on a 450. You rev it, it doesn't go anywhere. You rev this thing, and it actually pulls up the hill really nice. It's amazing. I was watching Kenny ride around today, and I was viewing Kenny going up these hills, and a good rider was behind him on a 450, and I was thinking, okay, he's going to get pulled up this hill. Actually, Kenny pulled him halfway up the hill because I think it was light and it got out of Area 3 better. So there's a lot of aspects in the realm of things that the 350 is better. I think we have a bad perception of this bike because I know some riders tried this machine in U.S. to race it and it didn't work out so well, but that is at a very, very high level. We're not there. We're soul riders. We want to have fun, race occasionally, and just have a good time, and this thing does that for me. Kenny, I want to say this to you. The only reason why we brought this thing up, the 350, we had a KTM 250 intro, and he was like, man, I haven't had this much fun in a long time. And I go, you will love a 350. Let me try to get you a 350. So that's why I brought Kenny out here, to see if you really like this. This is going to be your long-term bike. So do you think we made the right choice?
We definitely made the right choice. Maybe not so good for my job, because now all I want to do is ride. But I had that much fun today. Don't get me wrong, I love riding a 450. It's enjoyable, and I have to kind of be a little more finesse on it. Like, I'm a smaller stature, so 450, it'll put me on the ground quick, to where I jump back on a 350 today, and I feel like a kid again, and I'm just setting into all the turns, and I feel like I'm wide open everywhere. It brought back the joy of riding today. So, yeah, I'm going to say we made the right decision. I'm looking forward to putting a lot of time on this thing, and doing some other things to it to make it better, to give the information to everybody.
Another thing I want to note too, Chris Blows, you guys know Chris from Supercross, Motocross, he purchased a 350, and we talk a little bit, and he even mentioned how much he loves riding a 350. He said, if I wasn't racing, I'd be on 350 all the time. So KTM 350 SXF 2021 edition, very fun. You can go to keeferinctesting.com later on. I'll get you guys some settings for this, some more setup specs, and you also can visit racerxonline.com for more videos, lifestyle stuff, as well as racing information. And don't forget, RacerX has a publication, RacerX Magazine, lots of cool things in the magazine that you can't get online. So $20, get a calendar, get 12 issues. It's a good time. We'll see you in the next intro, because you know what? There's a lot of them at this time of year. So Kenny, Chris, we'll see you on the next go around.